Last week, the best ever football player, Pelé, died, considered by many not only the best football player to ever play the game, but also one of the best athlete in the world. And I would like to tell you today the story about one surreal night in New York City where I end up having cocktails with Pelé. Welcome to a new episode of Joe Mogul. And new Joe Mogul videos are available every Wednesday morning. So brighten up your life and tickle your smarts. Hit the subscribe button below and I will be sure to keep you on your toes. So it starts like this. I came to New York a few days before, maybe 2-3 days before, with a general plan to storm the city, to conquer the city, to make a lot of money so I can travel in South America. That was the plan, but I had no other details about how I'm going to do that. And before I went, the parents of my girlfriends at the time gave me a name and said, meet this guy, he's an old friend of us. And I had no idea who he was. And to be honest, it was for me the last thing you want when you're young is kind of like to meet the friends of your parents' girlfriends. So I said, okay, I will just make a check, have a little, very quickly have coffee with this guy and move to my plans to conquer the city and do all the great things I was thinking about. So he lived in Queens. I went there and I had no idea who this guy was. And I'm entering the house. It's a very beautiful house and he's very kind and everything. And after like the coffee and everything, about an hour and a half later, said, okay, let's go to the club. And I was like, what club? Oh, the club I own. It turns out he is the owner of the legendary Blue Note Jazz Club. And without any preparation, with my blue, dated coat that has like a scratch all over and not dressed properly at all, I find myself in the VIP table of the Blue Note Jazz Club. And I kind of like sitting there, and one of the waiters kind of like noticed my kind of, what am I doing here? And she said, don't worry, it doesn't matter if you're on the VIP table, it doesn't matter what you wear, it doesn't matter what you say, you're in the right place, just have fun. And I was okay, don't even look at the menu, everything is on the table. Great, okay, boom, switch. And then he came to me and said, well, Pelé might come later. And I'm kind of thinking, buddy, you don't need to impress me more. Like, that's enough for me. Don't bullshit me with Pelé. I grew up like this was like the iconic player, and now he's saying he's gonna come. And just like Cinderella, at midnight, a limousine came and Pelé with 7 beautiful models all around. And I remember one was brunette, one was blonde, one was black, as if someone was like, oh, we have to make it, right in terms of the ethnic, so we have a representation of each type. And the biggest is sitting just beside me. But he didn't speak much of in English, but all I remember is like a big smile, and he was very kind and he was smiling all the time, but it was very hard to communicate. There was no like translation. It was just like at a certain point I realized like we couldn't have a conversation, but I taught him in Hebrew, how do you say one more, odechad, for the drink. And every time he finished the drink, I said like odechad. It was like odechad I was trying to say. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, if I'm sitting with Pelé in one of the best legendary nightclub in the second or third night in New York, who knows what I'm gonna do in 2 weeks? Well, in 2 weeks, I find myself in the harsh reality of New York, in a small apartment. It's like small room in an apartment in a stinky place in Queens that I couldn't even afford. I couldn't even shove the little mattress because the room was so tiny. And then reality hits. But the sweet memories from that surreal and beautiful night with Pelé, and how kind he was. I was a nobody and he was still so kind to me.
just with his body language and the smiles. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why he was so beloved by millions and make so many people's joy and happiness, is how he was always down to earth. And I had the honor of one night to experience that myself. So this is the story of Pelé and myself. And just remember, never underestimate the power of your girlfriend's parents. Adios.
If you enjoyed the video you just saw, hit the subscribe button below. Even if you think the video you just saw is a complete garbage, hit the subscribe button below. Because who knows, maybe next week it's gonna be much better. I would love to hear your feedback. And I would love to know if you have any ideas for future topics you want me to discuss. Let me know. And don't forget to check the Joe Mogul website, because Joe Mogul website has videos that may put a smile on your face, maybe provoke a new idea in your head, and maybe inspire you to work towards your financial freedom. Because remember, every big dream starts with a small step, and that small step can start with a little tip on the Joe Mogul video on Wednesday morning. Ah! Yeah. Look at this. Look at this beauty. Ooh.